Good evening. Happy Monday. And welcome to Manic Mondays with Miss K on attorney Vincent Davis's platform, where parents can come tell their maniacal story about their walk with CPS and the corruption within. As usual, I have technically my co-host, Miss Michelle, parent warrior. And just to let you guys know, I'm not feeling 100% myself. I suffer with lupus, so I'm a little under the weather. And, I just want to, of course, do my thankfulness for the brothers and sisters that we still have here. I want to, have a moment of silence for those that are not here with us and those that are still sick and suffering. So have a moment of silence, please. So again, my eyes are bothering me today. Shall I look good?
You're fabulous.
So again, I am your host, Miss K, on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform for Manic Mondays with Miss K. And we are here every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And today is a show for our parent warriors. Just to let you guys know that you're not alone. Around the holidays, we tend to get, overwhelmed and emotional and just basically depressed because our children are not here with us. These are holidays that we as parent warriors are supposed to spend with family. These are times where we are supposed to bond together, make our own traditions, make our own customs. And Michelle, if you have anything to add, you're more than welcome.
And see, I feel like this whole process, no matter what time of the year, it's a very emotional and psychological process that a lot of parents aren't aware that can happen, and it's normal for you to go through. You have a set point in life where you're a mother, you're a father, and then all of a sudden that's torn from you. So it can be overwhelming, both emotionally and psychologically at the same time.
But on the flip side of that, just to piggyback off of that, this will be my third Christmas without my children. You know, um, if it wasn't for my husband, I probably wouldn't even put up a tree. If it wasn't for the other parent warriors that we need each other to lean on in these delicate times, in these stressful times, and in these lonely times. You know, I didn't want to come on here and be, the overly dramatic, oh, woe is me, mom. But I got some advice from my parent warrior, Michelle, and she said, stand in it. And I've always been a person to stand in my truth. That's my biggest strength and my biggest flaw because my transparency is what turns around to bite me in the behind most of the time. But I'm proud of the person I've grown into. I'm very grateful for people such as Michelle, Betty Joe, Miss Dorothy, Danita, Sharice. I am grateful. Of course, I'm grateful for my husband, but I am definitely grateful for the man above because Michelle, we've both leaned on each other, on this East Coast. And I can honestly say, I've met some great parents along the way. And I just want to thank you guys for listening. An ear can save a life.
It can. And a lot of parents think they're alone when they're
We, lo-
not.
we lose a lot of parents around this time of year. A lot of parents, you know, unfortunately, are not as motivated or not as planted because I don't want to say they're not strong enough. Anything worth everything is worth all the things. So I would never say a parent is not strong enough just because, you know, CPS won. So this is what, motivates me even more in these times to just lean on those that live the life we live.
Yes.
I just it hurts me a lot that outside interference causes a lot of the unnecessary stress, unnecessary anxiety, the constant, looking over your shoulder. Honestly, it comes from the people.
It's paranoia.
it
Paranoia.
and if you suffer with, again, full transparency, if you're a person that suffers with mental illness such as myself, it is very, I want to get the right word because, we get penalized, Michelle, on the words that we choose in this country to have freedom of speech, but yet we don't. So I want to make sure my words cannot be manipulated during this process. So I want to say we are overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed with restriction, with lack of importance. I am frustrated based on every day of separation mattering. Is that even a word?
It is. It is. And
like,
I completely understand that.
like I just, when you have the outside fighting you, you have the inside fighting you, you have your mental, your body, your emotions, your money. It's it's an upward down. It's like a roller coaster. It's
It
a
is.
roller coaster of unnecessary manipulation to cause triggers to make us break. Because I know that phrase about I'm not broken, but I'm definitely bending. Definitely bending. And I feel like I'm being pulled in every direction. I feel like, I know Mr. Davis always says, it's not about how we feel. However, because I don't like to say but, anything after but is bull. However, as a parent that actually can be on both sides of the fence from the outside looking in, just with your situation, show, because you spoke up on this platform, you were penalized. And I know you said I wasn't to blame. I just, I'm not trying to, get the flowers, but it's just like, when is enough enough? When do we as parents?
And you're not. You're not to blame. My decision to speak up was solely that, my decision.
And you
Pure and
see the
simple. Because I feel like at the end of the day, the right must be brought to light. It doesn't matter the cost. And yeah, it cost me a lot. It did.
it costs you everything, and it's
And
just
I
like,
am still
damn, like,
fighting that cost every day. Every day. I am fighting the mental cost, the cost of my children, the cost of everything. But it is still what is right.
but it's priceless and perfect, and it's like, how much toxicity, how much trauma, and how much, just disrespect are we as parent warriors meant to take? Because not every person is as strong as the last or the next. And then when these parents do, decide that the world got them because they weren't strong, well, I don't want to say strong enough. They weren't, they didn't have the willpower at that time to stand firm, and they were beaten down to the point where they felt like they didn't matter, like they were invisible. So they felt like it was best if they weren't here. And I feel like anybody, let alone somebody that is fighting for everything that keeps them grounded. I don't understand how these people can do things like that and still sleep at night knowing the insanity and psychological warfare they cause.
I'm not so sure that it's so much that they even understand that. In my opinion, I because I was at that point. I really was. They came. I'll never forget it. It will forever be burned into my memory. October 15th, when they came. And it was the most traumatic day of my life while I was making homemade vegetable soup. We called it feel good soup.
Hmm.
And it was the most traumatic event I've ever been through in my entire life to have my child ripped off of my body.
And it's
And and I hit a very, very dark low point. You know this. Very dark. It was the darkest point I have ever hit in my life. But
that's
I
what I said.
realized I have to stand up and fight for others. Because if not, my pain and suffering was in vain. If I don't stand up and fight, it's in vain.
And yeah, Shell, you're like amazing. Like I said, I've met some amazing people, and you're one of them because we are allowed to take timeouts because we clearly cannot take breaks, because if we take breaks then we will break. So as long as we have some type of structure, some type of purpose, we are parents, moms and dads. We are parents 25/8. And I don't think anybody's opinion or anybody's, you know, man-made law, with the exception of the Constitution, should have like it should have no bearing on what we as parents can and cannot do, as long as it is not unsafe, unhealthy, unlawful, and unheard of. Because it's when children are reprimanded based on upbringing, or the type of, I want to say, what's the corporal punishment that some of these parents may instill in these kids. I'm not a parent that physically beats my kids, and I've always said that from young. But then there are some children that kind of need those stern open hands. But I'm not a parent that agrees with that. But sometimes I may be, you know I want to use the word of the therapist, ambivalent. So based on me being ambivalent about discipline, because there's a very fine line
Yes.
between discipline and abuse. Very fine line. Children should never, 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 never fear you, but they should respect you.
Yes. And
And
ultimately, it's a parent's job to instill morals and values and an upbringing that is worthy of this world. We're creating the next generation. So, who is to say what is right or wrong within that family structure?
that's what I've said. You know what? You're right. Because that's what I've said in earlier shows. I've always said, you know, who are they to determine, our competence or our, insight into the level of supervision or guardianship or safety we may provide as the
Mhm.
custodial parent or the parent recognized, period. You cannot tell me that ethnicity doesn't play a part. Culture, upbringing,
Even
background,
lifestyle.
like there are so. I'm sorry.
Even lifestyle.
That's what I'm saying. There are so many factors that could be, both good, bad, or indifferent and meet you in the middle. So you cannot identify one situation and put a cap on it just because society makes that stigma, just a given. Who are they to form this consensus? Like, because I'm trying to understand, why, as, you know, a melanin infused person, right off the rip, we are biased against. However, this is something that could also be happening in the non-melanin infused,
Quite a bit.
so it's not about, the demographic. It's not about the ethnicity. It's not about the culture. It is about the money.
Yes.
And even now, in our lowest time around holiday season, when we have all of our innocence taken from us around a time that's supposed to be a happy time, we want our children to be happy wherever they may be at this time, but does not mean we are happy with that decision, nor are we happy without having them here with us where they belong. And it is extremely, I want to, it's
It's extremely heartbreaking.
that
It's
I'm
like
looking for
somebody
the
has
right
ripped your
word. Like,
soul.
I feel like I'm losing more and more of my vocabulary daily when I have to keep putting things in and go things out, things in and go things out. And it's like my brain is on overload because the insanity is real.
It is. It is.
If there are any parents that, feel alone or they just need to talk, we understand during these holiday times, loneliness and separation cause silence a lot of the times. And when a person is arguing and fighting, let them let them be vocal, let them be passionate, let them be heard. Because each time you silence a parent, you destroy a life. Not just the children, the parents itself, because some parents don't have that motivation. With everything that I'm dealing with, because I'm never selfish. I don't use it as a crutch. I don't throw it out there to get empathy, sympathy, or pity. I honestly like to keep it secret because it does not make anything conducive or better when all CPS does is use any any inkling of a flaw to
Yes.
try to diminish either your character, your competence, your knowledge, or your overall title.
Mhm.
My children don't even want to be around me. My daughter thought I would poison her in her class. My other child says she doesn't feel safe over a video interaction that court allowed. But on the flip side, you give my ex husband person to person access with no court order. No court order. This person has no parentage established, first and foremost. This person has an order of protection for one of the children. This person resides in a whole nother state. And this person initiated this with domestic violence. This is what I mean by outside interferences cause unnecessary stresses. And I'm not a person that blame shifts, but in my experience, this is my fourth case. Every other case has been about substance abuse. Now it's my mental capacity. But yet these people have violated court orders, constitutional rights. They have violated parenting plans. They have violated educational needs. They have violated orders of protection in another court with no jurisdiction. These CPS attorneys, these guardian ad litems, and even some of these judges are in, like, just, they are the ones that put our children in harm's way
As I
because they
tell
don't
people,
clear they don't clear these people. They don't clear these people. They don't do their job. You cannot lie on the stand and then still think you're covered by qualified immunity. But yet then you decide to either resign, you get fired, and then they try to brush it under the rug.
as I tell
Heartshare
people,
St.
if
Vincent
you want to,
Services is going to pay. Heartshare St. Vincent Services
yeah,
foster care agency has to be put on the map. They are crooked, corrupt, and they are definitely going to see. I was the wrong parent to abuse and put bias against. But this is not just for me. This is for all parents that you guys do this to based on y'all being negligent, incompetent, and unnecessarily employed. Point blank,
yeah,
period. And I'm sorry, Shell, but that shit just got the best of me. And I'm like,
yeah, you're fine. But I tell
man,
parents all the time that reach out to me, if you want to know the truth, follow the money, because then you will find out everything you need to know. Follow the money.
I could have sworn that putting children with relatives was the number one, go to for placement.
Hmm.
That's what I thought.
I
That's what
thought
I've
so
read.
too.
That's what I've seen. And that's what I've heard. Like. So why would this agency allow my children to stay with a person that is not even kinship? They have lied, falsified documents, tampered with evidence, and submitted altered correspondence. You can't get no more crooked than that. That's definitely a puzzle piece, jagged on every side.
Yes.
Like, I don't
'Cause
even know,
and the only thing I can say, it's that money. If they go to family, that money train stops. And that's the harsh reality.
well, let them tell it. I don't live in the reality because in my world, people actually did their job. People actually had hearts. People actually, pushed for families. As many broken homes and as many blended families, we have come into a time where step children, step parents just step out the way and become a family.
Mhm.
Step up and just step in. Like the poltergeist, step into the light. Because, every time I step up, I get stepped on. But these people could tell me my children don't want to visit me. My children don't want to go, with family. My children also have been exposed to so much unnecessary
Trauma.
trauma, unnecessary, uncensored things, domestic violence with the foster parent and her children, you know, pornography, physical attack on the foster parent. This foster parent is extremely negligent or uninformed to the things that are pertinent to my children's mental health, medical care, educational needs, and overall well being. But I really don't understand why it is so much of a problem for me to see my children when that is listed on the court order. Karma plays a big part and it circles back times 10 into your children,
Yes.
whether they're grown or not. So just be mindful. Anything that's impersonated will definitely come back in its natural form. That's
The
why I'm a phoenix.
lies.
I'm a phoenix. I'm reborn. I'm reborn every time somebody tries to burn me at the stake.
Mm-hmm.
So ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Because heart share and everybody that has worked with my family for the last almost 13 years off and on, you will see just how much I have accommodated humbleness, humility, but you are definitely going to see just how much heart and healing y'all gonna need. And that's not a threat. That is definitely to show you I'm not the same person. My children allowed me to be passive so y'all can pull this bull crap that y'all think is really okay. And the fact that I haven't been able to reach anybody in my case planning team from HeartShare St. Vincent Services in Brooklyn since, Mr. Belcom was fired for that fraud, fake, and inaccurate court report that could not be sworn to on the record because the first page was wrong. I told them that incompetence was real from the start. He came on in March, he became incompetent in March and every month thereafter up until termination. The fact that my children don't want to go with family, the fact that my children don't want to visit with me is irrelevant when it comes to what the judge said and what is written. And if these CPS attorneys can keep telling these case planners or these workers things without tangible documentation, I want to know where the court order is for July 17th that shows that my ex-husband can have person-to-person visits because I obtained every court order from March 8th of 2013 until present day.
And
Your
I think
turn.
a lot of people don't realize too that a lot of times these CPS attorneys, they don't come at you with factual evidence. It's
No, they
all what somebody wrote down on a little piece of paper.
these
It
people don't even
starts.
have the releases that I signed back in July for one of the supervisors who is no longer there. So what my discrepancy is why hasn't this release or why haven't these documents been passed along to the next team? So
Yeah.
like Mr. Davis said, things get lost in the shuffle. People, fail to enter documents, fail to enter correspondence or evidence by following the rules of evidence, and these things could have had cases dismissed or closed from the very beginning.
Yes.
And just know, let me say this disclaimer because I always say it late in the show. Every piece of information given here is for educational purposes only. This is not legal advice. But if you would like legal advice, reach out to the law offices of Vincent Davis. The number is at the bottom. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to my parent warrior, Michelle. We have Miss Roz McAllister. She's also watching. I'm more than sure she was great, and we will follow up with her next week. And I'm starting to get winded because I'm trying to not get, not get emotional, but it's very hard to not be passionate about innocence, especially when, you're still trying to figure out what exactly did you do wrong or where did it go wrong.
Oh, but see that's right there is the first area we go wrong as parents. We did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong other than loving our children. That's what we done. So that is the first step in realizing that this is not about us as parents. We done what we had to do. This is about a very corrupt and broken system that has to be corrected.
And see, that's, I always say, how can we as parents take point from a system that was designed to fail us from the very beginning based on currency, a greenback? These people, it must be part of their onboarding process to where you have to be able to lie and sever families. It has to be part of the contract. It has to be. Because you just don't do that on a whim. These people are not smart enough to do when in Rome. So, I'm still trying to figure out, based on the revolving door, constantly, this will be my sixth worker. Sixth worker since February 8th of 23. They're trying to put me up for TPR next month. My children live 10 minutes down the block, and I have told these people, based on this mental impairment they claim that makes me, often lose touch with reality, you have to be mindful of the things you say to a person that overthinks everything. Because for every situation you thought of, I have two, four, five, maybe 10. I am overthinking it, underthinking it. I am possibly being a hypochondriac of circumstance.
See, I feel like I became that way since this.
And see, it will drive this type of hamster wheel insanity will
Yes,
cause you to live every day like it was Groundhog's Day. Like the day just loops and it keeps repeating
it
itself
completely loops.
with just different people being incompetent, negligent, and
Because, like,
dismissive.
for me, with my whole thing, it was I had a previous relationship way back in the day that was domestic.
Exactly.
And
And
because
they
I've
bragged it.
seeked
Yep.
therapy for 10 years, oh my goodness, she can't possibly parent her children.
And it's like, these people never ask us, you know, they do ask us, what our history is, but they have, their own hidden agenda and false pretense about it. They
Hmm.
come in not to, I'm sorry, not to assess the situation and try to, accommodate it so it helps with the family dynamic of reunification. They don't do that. What they do is they come in and act like they are empathetic and that they are understanding. No, what they are ninjas with no uniform.
I call it, my new term for it is they are future authors for a narrative. They are
Because
searching
they are
for a
definitely
narrative.
writing some type of fictional, man. Listen, the sci-fi information and sci-fi books these people come up with, the insanity is just like too real. If it wasn't for my fellowship with my brothers and sisters, with my with my home group, plus my parent warriors, a lot of the time these people, they push these parents to relapse. They push these parents to suicide. They push these parents to, you know, go into a comatose state to where if you take everything that motivates us, structures us, gives us some type of stability, if you take that and dangle it in front of us as though it was a piece of raw steak and we were the dogs, how long do you think we're going to sit there until we don't?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
And I almost personally feel like it's a conflict of interest. The
that
person that
too.
is getting paid and reimbursed and all these things is a
Right.
person that decides whether or not you, with your God-given right to your children, can see them, can communicate.
And
I
most of them don't even have kids, like I told you before. And the ones that do have children, the reason why they haven't had any cases yet is because they haven't been caught. But they every dog has their day. And just know, Fido don't walk away from no bone. So if it's bones they want to bury,
We'll dig up
Let's
some
start
bones.
building skeletons. I'm all for it because once the bones start rising to the surface, it is not going to be a good look once the whole body comes to the surface. Once you put everything together from head to toe, you're going to see the middle is never what you thought it was. You got broken ribs, you got missing pieces, you got screws that keep the fragile pieces or the broken pieces or the frayed pieces. You got to mend those back together. That's how it feels. It feels like a broken skeleton. When you finally do get your kids back, now you have to figure them out all over again and
Mhm.
relearn your children and get to know them and basically introduce yourself to a stranger and them too in reverse. So it is overwhelming because not only do you dangle the children for whatever time you want, then once you do that, we jump through all the hoops and play every part of the main attraction for the big top. And just when you thought you've done everything, here comes a sideshow. And now, in order for you to get ready to close down the whole circus, you have to wait for that one unnecessary, the feature.
Yes.
And then it drags out and drags out. And it's like they have this relentless way of not agreeing on days for trial,
Mhm.
not agreeing on court dates, not being in cahoots with, the time, the date, the length. The due process
And
has
that's
been
if you're
violated in
lucky
my
enough for
sense from
them
the
to
gate.
even say anything.
And that's, yeah, right. And it's like due process should automatically, I feel, I don't even want to say I feel, it is a major necessity that anytime a parent's due process is violated, it should be an automatic grounds for dismissal without prejudice, without even
Yes.
talking about it. You
Automatic.
should just be able to give me my, my motion of closure and just keep going. There should not be anything to be on the record to talk about because we won. But you think that, having a parent go back and forth, putting them in a situation where they're high and low, do you think there's still going to be that same safe, healthy, you know, productive
It's
parent?
impossible, but that's
If
also
you
what
shake
they're
them up
banking on.
right. Like some parents can't even get the help that they need because it's a catch-22.
It
If
is.
they
It
if they
is.
go get the help, they're admitting fault. If they don't go get the help, they're like pressure bust pipes, ticking time bomb type of thing.
And then you're also expected, like, because I know it was mentioned with me once. Why did you react so emotionally?
And
Um,
that's what I'm saying. Like we're
any
not. If we
mother in
cry
their
too
right
much, it's a problem.
mind.
If we don't cry enough, it's a problem. If we get too aggressive, it's a problem. If we don't get
Yes.
aggressive, we don't care. Like, what is it that you want? Because in my case, I have I have a mental illness that is outlined with certain symptoms. Because I testified to that, I was penalized for that because I can insert myself and get access for information. Why is that a bad thing when the information that I'm getting, you should have been had? And had you had it, or if they've had it already, I wouldn't have had to do their job. Next, like it's a give and take. I'm not going to give you anything, but you keep taking everything. But you're not giving me anything, and I'm taking everything from y'all. No Vaseline, none. Just straight to the moon.
Yep.
And every now and then, we as parents, we're entitled. We're entitled to break down. Like we have every right to be human.
Hmm.
We are not perfect, but we're human.
You can't be
If
strong all the time.
and if you're strong all the time, if you're strong for everybody else, and then you try to be strong for yourself and you can't, who do you have to turn to? Your children kept you strong because you can't let them see you break. You have no other choice, especially if you're a single parent, because even as a single parent, you're basically doing the same thing most married women are doing. Even in a marriage, you may be single. And that's the truth. Nobody knows what a parent's bond is with their child. No child is the same. You have to learn each child. Each child has likes and dislikes, pet
Mhm.
peeves, red flags, behaviors, and outcomes. No child comes with there's no manual for parenting. So all those how to and that's bull. You can if every parent could parent each child the same way, there would be no need for uniqueness or individuality. There would be no need for fingerprints or DNA because then it would just be cloning and constant replicas. That's it. Because I feel like any parent that has to have any involvement with CPS, we are all mannequins. We're just a different shade.
I just want to bring up real quick, okay, that
Hmm.
intended Eve is commenting that she was asked to take a drug test and refused. They manipulated the results to manipulate her outcome.
Did she do? Did they do a instant dip right there, or did they send it to the lab?
She says, I am more than glad to take a drug test at my doctor's office anytime if they
Exactly.
want to take it.
That's why I asked. Did they do a dipstick right there to give her an actual reading on the spot, or did they just send it out to the lab? Because I'm gonna say this, and this is because this case has been closed already for over 2 years. This was my second case, and I'm going to be honest, but yeah, this is how much corruption these people. This is the lengths they go to. They told me I tested positive for amphetamines and barbiturates back in 2022. Full disclosure, that was my daughter's urine. So if you had those, my daughter was 8 at the time. So if you had that going on, then we know you guys have definitely violated on any aspect because each person that you bring in, such as a MICA program, mental illness or chemical addiction, you get a dual billing incentive. That I know for a fact in New York City.
She stated they wanted me to go to one of their labs to do the drug test, and I
Of
refused.
course. But if you've ever heard Mr. Davis say, one, if it's not a court ordered drug test and you decline, that cannot be forced upon you
No.
because drug tests are illegal, drug screens are legal without a court order, to my knowledge in New York. I don't know where's she located, y'all. I can't really see my comments. That's usually my husband's job. He's not
She's
here.
not said where are you located, intended Eve?
I can't see it.
She said in California.
Oh, okay. Lower or upper?
Just says same here in California.
Are you in the same area Mr. Davis is in? Because doesn't it? I mean, each county has their own, their own what tweaks and here and there, right? Because that's what you would have in
Yeah.
Florida too, right, Michelle? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know each borough, like if you go from the tri-state area, from like the five boroughs here, and then you go into Long Island, completely different. They go by counties and they're run by the different setup, but they're
She's in
still in New
South
York.
California.
Oh, so she has a little more. She has a little less access. Some of the things there are restricted based on the things I've heard Mr. Davis, talk about on his platforms. And you see my voice starting to get groggy. So that means, lupus is a hell of a disease to have, a hell of an illness. And any parents, for any of you guys that suffer with physical ailments, medical issues, or psychological setbacks, don't let these people make your diagnosis your label. Your diagnosis does not make who you are. It is what you are what you consist of based on symptoms and somebody else who wrote the book.
That narrative.
So like, you know, if we get on the web and we start self-diagnosing ourselves, we'll be all kind of stuff. Because I was even told I needed to go get an evaluation for Munchausen by proxy. Just because I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac. I'd rather be safe and sorry than to be late and gone. Like, I just, based on the stress itself, it is like, if a lot of parents pick up addictions too based on this. So when the children do come back, they are trying to maintain sobriety, a safe and healthy way of living. And then these people popping up at their damn house every 2 weeks to do a check, unannounced or whatever they feel like it, imposing on their way of life, embarrassing them, asking neighbors their business. Like, what gives them the right to do that? They just go a little too far. Too far, too much, too soon. And it's a lot. I don't even want, I'm not even in the holiday spirit, and I'm trying my best to just take it with a
I,
grain of salt because I'm
we've
still
not
breathing,
even
I'm just
decorated,
like
put up a tree.
so. I try. I told you I tried to put up my tree, and I put the tree up, and that was it. I put it up. Like, it's there. And, I do a winter wonderland every year, and unfortunately, this will be the first year that I have to. uh, And I hate to say it, but I would have to disappoint my neighborhood community children because Miss KK is tired. Miss KK is. They're not letting Miss KK be a mom right now, and it's like, when you get fired from a job, that does not mean the title that you had for that job just disappears. If you were a cashier at Kentucky Fried Chicken, just because you get fired does not mean you cannot be a cashier somewhere else. So although they don't let you, CPS will not allow me to be a parent in New York, there's other places I can go and be a parent with no issues because apparently these people are just doing a lot, but not enough. They're doing enough to cause unnecessary unnecessary drama, but they're not doing enough to reduce the separation, the drama, and the possible toxicity that they cause most of the time. I don't even understand how people like that could sleep at night and still, swipe their card to clock in. I know there are certain jobs that people have to, uphold based on things having, order. But where in any of this does CPS follow any orders, grant any or like grant anything that's on an order, have anything in order, or think that they're gonna put all their lies in order?
It's because it's been allowed to go unchecked for so long.
I
It's just
just
become the norm.
I just don't know. I know this is not about us as parents when it comes to, how CPS, makes us jump through hoops. But I know we have about 10 minutes left, and I wanna leave parents with these positive words of encouragement, these positive affirmations, and just know you're not alone. And it gets hard. It gets unfreaking bearable. It gets so tedious, but in a sense, it's worth it. Don't ever give up fighting for the most precious and perfect things that we made, mother or father, we made, or we have protected and taken care of. Titles are meant for honor and valor based on duties of that title being enforced. As a mother, parent warrior, and a human being with many certifications and licenses, as intelligent as I may be, letting CPS come into my life was one of the dumbest things I could have ever done. And that one dumb mistake could have possibly cost me everything that was worth anything to me. But I do want to tell my babies, all we have is each other. You are your sister's keeper. And y'all are amazing. Michelle, you have anything you want to add before I close?
I just want to let everybody know, if you're watching, you can find me on any social media. If you just need to cry, if you just
I'm gonna call
need
you back.
someone to hold your head up just above water a little bit, I will sit and talk with you through these holidays, because I get it. I get it. I understand. Do not be afraid to reach out.
You
I
gotta
will
tear
grab your
down those
hand.
paper walls. Tear down the paper walls, Michelle. You guys have to listen to Michelle's song. It is so motivational, so inspirational. She's a force to be reckoned with. A lot of parents need to take heed to the opportunities that y'all have. Be appreciative. Be assertive. Be a voice and be involved. Thank you, Michelle. As always, I'm going to call you when I get off here because I definitely need your shoulder. But I want to thank, all the parent warriors that are still here fighting. Don't ever give up. Innocence is worth it. And, parents, humanity is the reason why we're allowed to nurture, to love, to mold, and to breed. I'm your host, Miss K, for Manic Mondays with Miss K on Attorney Vincent Davis's platform. We are here every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Parents, innocence is worth it. Don't ever stop fighting. Thank you, Michelle, our parent warrior, as always. And to you, parent warriors out there, your voice is always heard. Reach out. United we stand, divided we fall. Merry Christmas, y'all. Be safe. Have a great night. Grace.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your faith